A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. This is your content warning. We try to keep things PG-13 around here. However, certain among us have a proclivity towards foul language and foul humor, so viewer discretion is advised. This is your only warning. While we're at it, I should probably note that any opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We have been longtime fans and players of the game, and so we have a vested interest in how game mechanics work, and as a hobby in our group, we enjoy yelling at each other over rules interpretations. So everything that we say is all in good fun. With that in mind, however, I will still ask, wizards, please hire us. Well, with that out of the way, enjoy the show.
Shadow Sorcerer Money Gang. Remember that was a meme?
I was about to say, that's kind of old now. That's crazy.
People thought that was awesome.
They did. We were talking about, because peek behind the curtain for those listening right now, we're recording this right the week before, well, not the week before, but a couple days before we go to Colossal Con, which we have done every year for the last couple of years. And I remember one year we went there and we participated in a competition, and our group's collective name was Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
Yeah, I remember. They loved that. They were like, this is so awesome. It was kind of the Ugandan Knuckles of the year that was.
Yeah.
They were like, this is awesome! And then it faded out and no one ever cares about it now.
Yeah.
I still think Ugandan Knuckles was peak humor, not gonna lie.
It was really funny.
We have not been funnier since then. No one has.
No the way.
It was crazy what those things did, man. VR chat stays winning.
I spit on you. Speaking
of VR chat, let's see what the Sorcerer has in store in the horror subclass UA thing. Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
How does that connect to VR chat?
Do with, yeah.
I don't know, we're gonna find out.
All right.
So, I'm the sorcery guy, so I talk about sorcery. That's my thing. Bend darkness and doom to your will.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Your innate magic comes from the Shadowfell itself. You might trace your lineage to an entity from that place, or perhaps you were exposed to the Shadowfell's sinister energy and were transformed by it. Your shadowy magic allows you to command darkness, undeath, and woe with ease.
So flavor-wise, it's like if you were like an undead warlock, but instead that was your dad.
You're like awesome.
Are you saying that undead warlocks can't have their dad as their patron?
Well, yeah,
unless you're multi-classing.
It's just a different relationship. It's a different relationship with sorcerer.
Now, I actually don't know much about the original. I gotta look up the original. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I gotta look at the original Shadow Sorcery. I looked at the 2024 Sorcerer to remind myself about what it does different, but I gotta look at the original Shadow Sorcerer.
The very first blurb is the same, but the next part is not in 2014. It says, the power of shadow magic casts a strange pall over your physical presence. The spark of life that sustains you is muffled, as if it struggles to remain viable against the dark energy that imbues your soul. At your option, you can pick from or roll on the Shadow Sorcerer quirks table to create a quirk for your character.
I hate Paul. All right. Here are the main updates in the subclass since its appearance in Xannies. Eyes of the Dark now also grants you blind sight and the ability to see through the darkness of any spell you cast. Sure. Shadow Spells is a new feature that provides a list of always prepared spells. I love always prepared spells! I love always prepared spells! Whoa! Spirits of Ill Omen, formerly Hound of Ill Omen, now uses the Summon Undead spell, allowing for more versatility and scaling.
They took my dog. Can't have shit in the Shadowfell.
Yes.
Well, that's because it was a class feature, not a spell. You can't
exactly.
Have
it needs
features.
To be a spell.
It has to be.
Umbral Form now gives you one free use of the form per long rest. Strength of the Grave has been improved and moved to the benefits of this form. Okay.
They really like naming things of the grave for these.
Because it's spooky.
X of the grave. Yeah.
Dildo of the grave. All right.
No!
Eyes of the Dark. You have dark vision with a range of 120 feet and blind sight with a range of 10 feet. Awesome. In addition,
Oh.
if a spell you cast creates an area of darkness, you can normally see through that spell's darkness. Sure. That's
Old
not the
version,
only.
old version had no blind sight, so blind sight's just a buff.
Okay. Great. So glad.
Yeah.
That's not
Everything
the
else is the
only.
same. All right.
It's not the only level 3 feature though. We also got shadow spells. And you get at levels 3, Bane, Darkness, Inflict Wounds, Pass Without Trace. 5th level, Hunger of Hadar, and Summon Undead. 7th level, Greater Invisibility, Phantasmal Killer, and 9th level, Contagion and Creation.
You
Creation.
don't get any cool spells in the 2014 version
Bow, bow,
that
bow.
are always prepared.
Okay. I suppose it's a
Also,
little more valuable for Sorcerer because they have less prepareds than other
Mhm.
I was
classes
gonna say
do.
that, but also there is just an entire, I don't know, is it where, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Huh.
Strength of the Grave has been improved and moved to the benefits of this form. Okay, so Strength of the Grave used to be something you got at level 1.
What'd it do?
Oh,
Uh, Starting at first level, your existence in a twilight, blah, blah, blah. When damage reduces you to 0 hit points, you can make a charisma saving throw, DC 5 plus damage taken. On a success, you drop to 1 hit point instead. You can't use this feature if you are reduced to 0 hit points by radiant damage or a critical hit. After the saving throw succeeds, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest.
why did they move that to level 18?
Well, it would simply be too strong for you to have it at level 3, which all classes get their subclass at level 3, including Sorcerer, of course.
I'm sorry, I forgot
Yeah.
that we don't play the game 1 to 20 anymore. We play it 3 to 20.
Yeah,
Or
so
3
they
to
just
17.
True.
they just decided to take that
Mm.
from the beginning and just put it at the end instead.
That's dumb.
Well, not much to write home about so far. Levi, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Spirits of Ill Omen. You can cast Summon Undead without a material component. You can also cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it this way when you finish a long rest. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for that casting, and the spell ends early if you cast it again.
Okay. What'd the old one do? Hound of Ill
The
Omen.
Hound of Ill Omen. You call for the Howling Creature of Darkness to harass your foes. As a bonus action, you can spend 3 sorcery points to magically summon a Hound of Ill Omen to target one creature you see within 120 feet of you. It uses the Dire Wolf stat block with the following changes. Its size is medium, not large, and it counts as a monstrosity, not a beast. It appears with a number of temp hit points equal to half your sorcerer level. It can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. It takes 5 force damage if it ends its turn inside an object. And at the start of its turn, the hound automatically knows its target's location. If the target was hidden, it is no longer hidden from the hound. So a lot better.
Yeah.
It has its own initiative. It can only move towards its target by the most direct route on its turn, and it can only use its action to attack its target. It can make opportunity attacks, but only against its target.
That's cool though.
And while it's within 5 feet of the target has disadvantage on any saving throws against any spell you cast.
Wow. The dog's like a revenant.
Yeah, the dog's pretty good. That's pretty nice.
I don't know how strong
No
the
more
Summon
dog.
Undead spell is. Yeah, they killed the dog in exchange for a Summon Undead.
Let me look at Summon Undead. Let's compare and contrast here.
Mm.
Summon Undead.
Already
and
though, it's like
2024 version.
you take 3 sorcery points to summon the dog as a bonus action. With this, you have to cast a spell.
Yeah. You call forth an undead spirit. It manifests in a you can form ghostly, putrid, or skeletal. The spirit resembles an undead creature within the chosen form. So the AC is 11 plus the spell's level. The HP is 30 if it's ghostly or putrid, or 20 if it's skeletal, plus 10 for each spell level above third. 30-foot fly or 30-foot hover speed, 40-foot fly speed for the ghost. They don't got any of the like give disadvantage on saving throws or any of that. They just got multi attack.
Awesome.
They can do the move through things as if it was difficult terrain. They can do that.
Yeah.
And they get multi-attack equal to half the spell's level rounded down. So if you cast it at 3rd level, you actually You actually just get one.
Yeah.
In order to get two, you have to cast it at 4th level.
Oh,
And then the ghost does 1d8 plus 3 plus the spell's level of necrotic damage for its attack. The skeleton does 2d4 plus 3 plus the spell's level of necrotic damage for its attack. And the putrid does 1d6 plus 3 plus the spell's level of slashing damage for the attack.
whatever.
And the ghost can make people frightened when it attacks them. And the putrid, if the target is poisoned, which it does not make people poisoned. Oh no, it does. Sorry, it has another thing where it can try to make them poisoned. If it hits them, then it paralyzes them.
Mm.
So that's kind of all right, but that's only for the putrid.
Yeah, there's versatility there, I suppose, but in exchange for the versatility, it's lost some identity.
Yes. I like the hound more. It makes it more unique.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing for me is like you could take this spell. Well, actually, as a sorcerer, you can't. But like, because this isn't a sorcerer spell, in 2024, so that's something that like I guess this is the only sorcerer that can get that spell as of right now, in 2024. But like, a wizard could do this too, as could
Presumably a
warlock.
cleric.
Yeah, like it. The hound was unique, and it was a cool thing that was like, you get this because you're a special shadow sorcerer. Now you get this thing that other people could have. You just get to have it all the time, though.
You just
Isn't
get
that
this
cool?
one spell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have it all the time. Other people might not have it all the time. They might not have it prepared. You have it all the time. Isn't that cool?
Aren't you
No.
thankful? Don't you guys have phones?
I guess.
I do. The only thing that I'll give it credit for is that if you take the minute to cast it, it doesn't require concentration, so you could double up
True.
with something else.
Yep.
But that just doesn't feel that cool.
But
Mm-mm.
I mean, originally the hound also it wasn't a spell, so
So
it wouldn't
yeah,
have been
so it wouldn't have
concentration
concentrated.
either.
True, true.
It
Well,
was just a class ability.
awesome. Thanks, Wizards. Jordan, why don't you take the next one?
All right, the next one, Shadow Walk, level 14. While you are in dim light or darkness, you can take a bonus action to teleport up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light or darkness.
That's pretty all right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is like word for word what the original is, right?
Oh,
I think it's pretty
Yes.
close. Yeah.
That's like,
yeah, that's ripped straight from.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say ripped because it's the same subclass, so it's not like they're cheating, but it's
Well,
exactly the same
they
as
are.
it was.
But
copy paste. Oh,
But it's
well,
good. I mean, that's a
yeah, I mean,
two
it's fine.
times what do you call it? Misty Step. 2 times Misty Step. For
You're
free.
definitely gonna have the every single time you enter a space. DM, am I in dim light? Is there
Yeah.
dim light or
True.
darkness?
I mean, I feel like the strat is to actually cast darkness, which otherwise I think there's like no reason to ever cast that spell. But if you cast it, you can create your own spot to teleport within.
Which is
Yeah.
pretty cool, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
And you can see within your own darkness
true.
normally.
That works, but that was also part of the core gameplay, except the seeing in your own darkness, which is really funny. Oh gosh. All right.
That does feel like the one thing that they were like, wait a minute. This could like actually work and be good.
10 years later, guys, I got an idea.
Just imagining how that would work out originally in game. Like, okay, you've cast darkness. Surely you can lead us through this when like our enemies will be none the wiser.
I cannot
No.
see.
I can see
Dang.
just as much as you guys can, actually. I can.
Didn't you say you're the shadow sorcerer? Yes.
But my eyesight's really horrible. I can't drive at night. It's really bad.
Meanwhile, the warlock's like, I got it. Don't worry. I forget what that feature's called, like Eyes of the Grave or something. Who knows?
Something of the grave, probably.
Probably. All right. Last up, Umbral Form. As a bonus action, you adopt a shadowy form. Period. That's the end of the feature. No. Gain the benefits below for 1 minute until you have the incapacitated condition or until you end the form, no action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or unless you spend 6 sorcery points, no action required, to restore your use of it. I always like that. Incorporeal movement, you can move through occupied spaces if they were difficult terrain. If you end your turn in such a place, you take 1d10 force damage. Love that. Love that every time I get to see it. It's so awesome. Shadow Resilience, you have resistance to all damage except force and radiant. Strength of the Grave, there it is. If you would drop to 0 hit points and die outright, you can make a charisma saving throw DC 5 plus half that damage taken. If you succeed, your yeah, there you go.
Good job.
Thanks. It does take you up to 3 times your sorcerer level, which at most would be 60. By this point, it would have to at least be 3 times 18.
Yeah. So that's nice, at least that they buffed it in that way for putting it at 18, because it was just you go back to 1. You don't
True.
drop to 0, you drop to 1.
And
but
in
it
fairness,
was also a level 1 feature.
Yeah, Strength of the Grave is no longer tied to its own feature, so it's not like before it was you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or something like that.
Yeah.
Now it's just every time you're in the umbral form.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
you
nice.
do get it more frequently. Yep. Okay.
Awesome. I don't see how it like helps you at all, though, if I'm being honest.
Keeps you alive.
As the
But at that
sorcerer,
point- yeah, at that point you're a level 18 spellcaster, so like,
well, it's just like you shouldn't be getting hit.
yeah.
Generally, you shouldn't need resistance to all damage. You shouldn't need the Strength of the Grave feature. You'd have to guess to know when you want to do it, honestly.
What if there's a bad guy that specifically hates you? The sorcerer.
Well-
It's your backstory, part of the campaign.
Then I hope you enjoy using your umbral form for that combat. And that's it.
What if
All in
you
all-
like decide, oh, I have this now, so I'm gonna change it up and go to the front line?
Can't wait till you get punished. Can't wait for the Strength of the Grave to not work or to fight a paladin that smites you.
Yeah. Oh man.
Awesome. Well,
I don't think it's terrible. The main gripe I have with it is I just don't like how they changed Spirits of Ill Omen.
yeah.
I don't like that they changed it to Summon Undead. I would have liked to keep the Hound. I thought it was cooler. Thought it worked better. But after we talked about it, because I didn't even think about it, but yeah, the glaring problem of the old one of not being able to see through magical darkness
That's really funny.
has been fixed and actually helps your playstyle heavily.
Mhm.
Because like you said, now you can throw down a darkness somewhere and then teleport to it from across the battlefield. So that's pretty good.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, it's not horrible.
Oh, no, it's fine. Generally, at least in 2014, every sorcerer subclass always suffered from the same problem of having basically no identity. They were just a flavor of sorcerer.
Yeah.
And this seems to be carrying on the legacy.
Yep.
Relatively unimpactful. But I feel like you could try to have some fun with it, but you are dependent on casting darkness.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're just as good as any other sorcerer. But with darkness, hey,
But
that
hey.
works.
You do have it always prepared.
Exactly. And creation. Why? I don't know. But you have it.
Isn't creation
Why?
the
I
weird one
can't
that's
tell
like
you.
make your own spell, or am I crazy?
No, that's the one where you make a thing. Like you make objects.
I make darkness.
True.
But she's in the other campaign.
True. Thanks, TJ. All right. That's my bit. Who wants to talk about the Hex Blade?
I'll talk about the Hexblade, even though
All
I've
right.
never played a Hexblade. This is kind of a Warlock light group. How many levels of Warlock do we have between us? 1?
Between all of us here right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.
Kids. Okay. You've made a pact with a sentient magic weapon, and the cursed forces contained within its blade. Such a weapon could be the sword sheathed at a warlock's side, or it could be an an infamous magic weapon stored elsewhere, projecting its power across the multiverse to further its cunning plans.
Wow.
To those who are willing to follow this weapon's whims, these inscrutable patrons offer the power to bestow malignant curses, deliver punishing blows, and bolster the wielder. Design note, Hexblade patron updates. Here are the main updates to everything in the subclass since it was introduced appearances and authors. The Hexblade spells, formerly expanded spell list, now give you a list of always prepared spells. I love always prepared spells! They've been revised. Hexblade Manifest is a new feature allowing you to cast Hex a number of times without a spell slot. It also grants you a handful of unique ways to interact with your cursed target. Lifestealer is a new feature that interacts with the Hex spell to provide healing and reliable damage. Now,
Yeah.
isn't that already how it works?
No.
No? Okay. Armor of Hexes now more reliably reduces damage taken, and Masterful Hex is a new feature that boosts the power of Hexblade Manifest. So, at level 3, the magic of your patron ensures you always have certain spells ready. When you reach a Warlock level specified in the Hexblade spells table, you therefore always have the following spells prepared. At level 3, Arcane Vigor, Hex, Magic Weapon, Shield, and Wrathful Smite. At level 5, Conjure Barrage and Dispel Magic. At level 7, Freedom of Movement and Staggering Smite. And at level 9, Animate Objects and Steel Wind Strike.
A lot of those are new. I don't know how much they matter, but a lot of those are new.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole subclass?
That's the whole subclass. No.
Wow.
Who wants to read Hexblade Manifest?
Jordan.
Okay. Also at level 3, Hexblade Manifest. Your patron grants you the power to summon cursed echoes of its blade to hinder your foes. You gain the following benefits. Hexblade's Curse. You can cast Hex without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You can cast Hex, a spectral weapon resembling... When you cast Hex, a spectral weapon resembling your patron orbits the cursed target. Hexblade's Maneuvers. Once per turn, when you hit a target cursed by your Hex with an attack roll, you can cause one of these additional effects. Draining Slash. Target makes a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target can't make opportunity attacks, and its speed is halved until the start of its next turn. On the start of your next turn, sorry. Harrowing Blade. The target makes a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the next time the target makes an attack roll against a creature other than you before the start of your next turn, the target takes necrotic damage equal to your Charisma modifier. Stymieing Mark. The target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes before the start of your next turn.
Ooh. This subclass sucks.
I don't. What was the thing you got at first level? You got Hex Warrior on the last one, and Hexblade's Curse. Hexblade's Curse. Originally, you gain a bonus damage to rolls equal to your proficiency bonus. You got crits on a 19 or a 20, and if the target dies, you regain hit points equal to your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier. That was original Hexblade's Curse.
Way better.
Yeah.
And Hex Warrior.
Now they've just given you the weapon features that they introduced in 2024, but like now as part of the Hex. These just they're not exactly the same, but they sound very similar to like some weapons can vex someone where like they have disadvantage on the next attack roll they make before the end of your next turn. Or like some weapons can slow someone so they lose 10 feet of movement speed until their next turn. And I'm like, okay.
They took the blade out of my Hex Blade.
Kinda.
All right. Well, level 6, Life Stealer. Your patron's might allows you to drain vitality from those you curse, granting you the following benefits.
I thought for a second it said your patron might allow you.
No, your patron might allow you to do this.
If you ask nicely.
Hungering Hex. Whenever the target cursed by your Hex drops to 0 hit points, you regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Charisma modifier. That's already something that was in Hexblade's Curse. I think it was a little weaker, but the original Hexblade's Curse at level 1 gave you your Warlock level plus Charisma modifier. Also, it was better. Inevitable Blade. Yeah. The other one, Inevitable Blade. Once per turn, if you make an attack roll against the target cursed by your Hex and miss, you can deal necrotic damage to that creature equal to your Charisma modifier. Sure.
What was the level 6 for the previous one?
Summon the Spectre.
Accursed Spectre. Yup. Much better.
Yeah. Didn't make much sense in the class, but it was way better.
Yeah, you get a free 22 hit point minion that
Is that what TJ used the other night?
yes, free 22 hit point minion that has a 3d6 necrotic damage attack that
And
it
it's
can use.
resistant to like virtually every damage type, immune to a few.
It's immune to necrotic and poison, and it's resistant to acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, and bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical.
So
Pretty
better,
good.
but it didn't make sense for the class. I'll tell you that much at least.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Armor of hexes, Levi.
When you take damage from the cursed target of your hex, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to 2d8 plus your charisma modifier. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Why would you even ever do this?
Because you don't have a good reaction economy? Because you
Literally take like 5. Take the dip into rogue and get fancy footwork. No, not evasion. What's it actually called?
Fancy footwork is a swashbuckler feature.
Yeah, I'm thinking. What's the one where you reduce damage as a reaction? You can have the
uncanny
damage.
dodge.
Yeah, uncanny dodge.
That's what it is.
Literally just dip for that. That's better.
But they don't want you to multi-class, guys.
True. Just take the bad scaling of your subclass and like it. Okay.
The defeated, okay.
Yeah. Originally, this is the one that if
Oh yeah, let me look at the original.
if something hits you with an attack roll that's cursed by your Hexblade's curse, you can use a reaction to roll a d6 on a 4 or higher. The attack misses.
Yep, it's just a 50% chance to not take damage at all.
At all.
Instead, which I suppose, depending on how much damage it is, I mean, 2d8 plus hopefully 4 to 5 could be a good negation, but still, like that versus 50% chance of no damage at all, no matter what the amount of damage is.
It's just fun.
That's a pretty decent nerf.
I think the old one's just fun anyway, because you get to roll more dice. Who doesn't like to roll more dice? Who doesn't like Gamba? All right.
Level 14.
Jordan.
Level 14, Masterful Hex. Your patron's accursed might flows even more strongly through you, granting the following benefits. Accursed critical. Any attack roll you make against a target cursed by your hex scores a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20 on the d20. Infectious Hex. When you use one of your Hexblade's maneuvers, you can target one additional creature within 30 feet of the cursed target. The additional target takes 1d6 necrotic damage.
Wow.
1d6 at level 14. That's amazing. Resilient Hex. Taking damage can't break your concentration on Hex.
Super wow.
That's all right. I can't believe they took the you crit on 19 or 20 and moved it to the final feature of the subclass. They did the same thing, but I feel like this is much more egregious than what they did with the sorcerer one.
Yeah.
Because the sorcerer one, it was like, okay, it scales because you get 3 times the hit points instead of 1 hit point, and you're using it like all the time instead of just that one time. This one, it's literally just, we took it from level 1 and put it at level 14.
Well, because they can't have level 1 features anymore. God.
This super sucks. I see why people were complaining about it when it first dropped.
Yeah. I mean, I personally,
they neutered it.
I didn't even think like I don't understand what they were going for here. Did they? Because like I get that we're like, oh, they're trying to nerf stuff because some stuff's like too good, but like I didn't even think the Hexblade was like that busted or anything. I thought it was good.
I mean, it's the one that everybody uses.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was like super broken and it needed like a bunch of rearranging.
No.
I will also argue that this is a prime example of why and I know that we've railed against this before, it's stupid that they got rid of level 1 features.
Yeah.
There are some subclasses, there are some subclass types that it does not make sense why you would not have a subclass
You
at
just don't
level
have a patron
1.
for 2 levels.
It does not make sense. You cannot tell me that they're just a warlock and they don't have a patron until level 3. That's dumb and it's a mistake.
Your magic sorcerer blood doesn't kick in until level 3.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
me mad, and it's stupid, and they're wrong, and they need to admit that they're fucking wrong.
I was an undecided major when I went to wizard school. Now I've
True.
decided at level 3 what major I've
God.
picked.
It's so stupid. You did not need to standardize at what level everybody gets their subclass because it does not make sense.
Yeah. Again, that's one of those things that I'm like, I understand why they wanted to do it even if I don't agree with it, but like who was asking for it? I don't feel
Nobody.
like everyone was like this is a problem with 2014 5e. Like I never heard anyone be like I don't like that some of the classes get their stuff before the other ones. So I don't know.
It also pisses me off with cleric because you can't tell me that you don't know what kind of cleric domain you practice in at level 1.
I'm just agnostic, man.
Like
I'm
what?
just-
Like you don't know what god you serve? What is wrong with you?
I know they're there. I just don't know which one I like yet.
It's so stupid. It's a mistake and it's a bad feature.
Regardless, it's the world
Rant
we're
over.
living in.
Sorry.
Yeah. In general, I'm just upset with this
Yeah.
because they took all the blade part out of it. Literally, nothing
Yeah.
about this requires you to use a blade anymore.
Yeah, no,
It's
you have to
very
have like an
hexy.
axe now or a hammer.
Well, I'm saying in particular, you don't have to use a weapon. This
Yeah,
all
no, 'cause
procs off of an attack,
they-
so you can use Eldritch
Yeah.
Blast for all of it.
Yeah, they much more also focused it on being like, oh, your patron could be the weapon, which I think is lame. I think
It's weird. I don't like it.
unless your patron being the weapon is the weapon that you have in your hand and that you're using, but the way they described it was like it's a weapon that's in some far off place giving you power, and I'm like that okay. Then what makes it any like different flavor wise than a fiend pact like or an archfey where they just sit off in some other plane of existence and give me their power. Like
I
the
don't
thing about
know.
Hexblade was supposed to be like, oh, your cool cursed sword that you have is what gives you your magical warlock powers, and that's what you use. And I mean, I know people have done it differently over the years. The one we had, the Hexblade that's in our campaign, I do a little bit differently. But still, like,
The main appeal to the subclass before was that it was a gish. Everybody loves gishes. I don't know why, but everybody loves them. So when people were like, wait a minute, I can play a warlock, but I don't have to commit to casting, and I can also do melee stuff if I want,
yeah,
and it's better than what the fighter can probably do.
yeah.
Awesome.
Because being able to be martial and have all those Eldritch invocations is really nice.
So there went that out the window because one thing they sneakily removed that I bet you didn't see was you no longer are proficient in medium armor, nor shields, nor weapons.
That's dumb.
Lamau.
That's stupid.
Martial weapons, yeah. That all went
Wow.
away.
So you can't even use like a longsword or a rapier if you
No.
want. You had the only sword you can use is a short sword.
Yeah.
Common wizard L?
Or like a scimitar. That's
Or
a
a
simple
scimitar,
weapon.
yeah.
That's
A D6, basically.
Yeah,
You're
yes.
you're getting a D6 instead of I want the D8. You're getting the D6.
So
They
once
removed
again,
it.
wizards saw the subclass that everybody likes playing because it actually functions well within the constraints of the game and said, no.
It's
They said,
just
clearly it's too strong because everyone likes it.
Yeah.
anti-gish technology. Technically, I would be here for it, but it's just who's gonna play? No one's gonna play this now. No one wants to. Who's gonna be here and be like, I can't
Well-
wait to use my hexes all the time.
I
I
mean-
love casting hex.
I mean, who's really playing 2024 at this point? But
Too many people, unfortunately.
This
If
is
there's
off
one
topic.
person playing, it's too many people.
Dylan's the one person.
You saying the
Yeah.
whole thing about hexes was really like made so much more funny by the fact that I can only see the top half of your face.
Hexes!
The eyes.
Hexes! Which honestly, what they did is they made this into a ranger, if you look carefully. It's Hunter's Mark. They Hunter's marked it. They Hunter's marked it. It's all based on your spell. Also, another thing I do want to talk about, your 14th level feature, you taking damage can't break your concentration on Hex, which by the way doesn't mean you can't lose concentration. There are other ways you can lose it. That wasn't a problem for Hexblade's Curse because that wasn't a spell, so you couldn't lose concentration on it originally.
Yep.
So,
Hexblade's curse is not just hex.
exactly. Just want to throw that out there for you.
But no, it has to be a spell because the spell is objectively worse than
I
the class
remember.
feature, so it has
Yeah,
to be a
no
spell.
class features,
I
only spells.
remember
Unless the
3
class feature
weeks
is worse.
ago
Mhm.
when we were getting ready to do our first episode for this, like in the hour before we recorded, Pertuset was talking to me and he was like, yeah, apparently everyone's mad about Hexblade. I don't know why. I haven't really read into it, but I
Mhm.
guess we're going to find out. And
I
now
see
we
now
found
why.
Now we
out.
know.
Yeah,
Now we're fully
now
aware.
we know. All right. Well, one more to go. Can't be that disappointed, right?
The undead.
Jordan, take the
Woohoo.
lead. You're the undead
Now,
person.
before we read this, is this the one that people like, or is this the one that people
Let
don't
me
like?
check.
Because I can't
because
remember.
The one that's good was the one introduced in Van Richten's, right?
I
Oh
have
no.
no idea.
I'm
I
gonna
know
go
that there are
look.
2 undead warlock subclasses, and one of them
Okay.
is good and one of them sucks.
I'm pretty sure this is the one people like because this one has the form of dread, which was cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
The
then people are gonna be
Undying-
upset.
Yeah, the Undying one was the one where you're basically almost like a warlock healer, kind of. You're about spare the dying is your whole thing.
Gotcha.
So I think this is the one people liked.
Okay, warlock
Yes, this is.
undead
It says
patron.
right there. Since its introduction in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Defy death for profane power. You've made a pact with a creature that defies the cycle of life and death, a powerful lich, vampire, or other entity of undeath. Having once been mortal themselves, these ancient patrons know firsthand the paths of ambition and the routes past the doors of death. They eagerly share this profane knowledge along with other secrets with those who work their will among the living. Design notes. Undead spells, formerly expanded spell list, now gives you a list of always prepared spells. Yeah.
Why do you
Grave
feel the
touch.
need to give it a funny
It's
little
every
name?
time.
Undead spells.
Yeah, like why?
It's-
Why are? Because it's just the formerly expanded spell list is what's getting me. It's like expanded spell list worked. Why do we have to get it a funny little name for it?
Because it's thematic.
Don't dead name the undead patron.
Grave Touch now allows your spells and attacks to ignore resistance to necrotic damage. Necrotic Husk no longer requires a reaction to use its secondary feature. It restores you to a number of hit points equal to 10 times your charisma modifier.
What the heck?
Superior Dread is a new feature that improves your form of dread, allowing you to fly, regain hit points, and improve your spell casting.
Okay, listen, I will hear them out. Why is my undead warlock flying?
I don't
Why?
know.
I'll wait.
It's spooky.
I'll wait.
He's
But
a ghost.
that's really silly.
Level 3, Form of Dread. As a bonus action, you transform into an avatar of your patron's dreadful power, gaining the benefits below for 1 minute until you have the incapacitated condition, or until you end the form, no action required. You can transform a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Facsimile of Life. You gain temporary hit points equal to 1d10 plus your warlock level. Frightful Avatar. You have immunity to the frightened condition. Additionally, once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can force it to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target has the frightened condition until the end of your next turn.
Okay, that's pretty
That is-
copy paste.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
exactly the
that's
same.
the same
That's,
thing.
that's the
The main
last
thing
one.
they changed is instead of charisma modifier, it's
Yeah, it was
proficiency bonus.
proficiency.
So it scaled better in the old way, but it was worse early in the new
Yeah.
or in the old one.
Additionally, undead spells, formerly the revised spell list, or the expanded spell list. Level 3, blindness, deafness, false life, phantasmal force, ray of sickness. Level 5, speak with dead, vampiric touch. Level 7, death ward, phantasmal killer. Level 9, anti-life shell, and cloud kill. Why cloud kill?
Hey Jordan, did you see what spell they got?
Speak with dead?
They got Death Ward,
I did see that they got death ward. Why did they get death ward but not the other one?
not the cleric. We hate clerics. We
That
hate
makes
clerics.
sense. Yeah, they do. We're aware.
The old
Yeah.
one has Cloud Kill too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Cloud Kill's just supposed to like kind of be like big.
it has kill in the name.
I think it's
That makes
supposed to
it
be like
scary.
Lich Fart Attack.
True.
I do genuinely think that that's kind of like the flavor that they went for, even in 2014. It's like big fart attack, so it's like evil and lichy. It's
Mustard gas. Go.
yeah.
It's a war crime that makes it terrifying.
All right. Level 6 Grave Touched. Your patron's powers have a profound effect on your body and magic, gathering or granting you the following benefits. Arcane Necrosis. Whenever you cast a spell or hit a creature with an attack roll and deal necrotic damage, the damage dealt ignores resistance to necrotic damage. Additionally, once per turn when you cast a spell that deals damage while using your form of dread, you can change that spell's damage type to necrotic. Undead Endurance, you don't gain exhaustion levels from dehydration, malnutrition, or suffocation. In addition, you don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. Sure. How does that compare to the old one?
Yeah, it's very slightly different. Instead of it ignoring resistance to necrotic damage, it's just you can turn any attack into necrotic damage that you make. So if you make an attack that doesn't do necrotic damage, you can change it to necrotic damage. And you can roll one additional damage die when determining necrotic damage when you're in your form of dread. So you get a little bit more damage if you're doing your form of dread and you're making it necrotic damage. Honestly, I kind of feel like this is a little bit better because of the ignoring resistance.
Yeah, it'd be pretty nice to like go up against a bunch of flaming demons, cast fireball, and then make it necrotic and they can't resist it.
Yeah.
Boom. Take that, you little imps. All right.
And then, yeah, the Undead Endurance is exactly the same. It's just, in the old one, it's just worded much more simply. It just says you don't need to eat, drink, or breathe.
Awesome.
All right.
Level 10.
Necrotic Husk. Your connection to undeath now saturates your body. You gain the following benefits. Necrotic Resilience. You have resistance to necrotic damage. While using your form of dread, you have immunity to necrotic damage. Unholy Resuscitation. If you drop to 0 hit points and don't die outright, you can cause your body to erupt with deathly energy. Each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you makes a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC, taking necrotic damage equal to 2d10 plus your Warlock level. On a failure, or half as much damage on a success, your hit points then change to 10 times your Charisma modifier, minimum of 10, and you gain 1 exhaustion level. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest.
Short or long's crazy.
So kind of similar to the sorcerer thing, where it's like you come back and you get a bunch of hit points back. The old one was when you would be reduced to 0 hit points, you can use your reaction to drop to 1 hit point instead and cause your body, and then you do the same thing of 2d10 plus your Warlock level damage and gain a level of exhaustion, and you can't use it again until you finish 1d4 long rests.
The big catch being that the old one doesn't require a saving throw. Everything just takes that damage.
Yes. Personally, I think this is better.
I think it's stronger.
Yeah.
More likely to be used.
Because unlike the sorcerer one, this is at the exact same level as the last one was. These were both at level 10, and the last one was you dropped to 1 hit point. This is you're gonna get a minimum of 5 times your hit points change to 10 times your charisma modifier. So like if you have a 4 or a 5, you're getting 40 to 50 hit points.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. You can't spam it because you will get exhaustion.
Yeah, that too. You can't spam it. And I do like that you get it back a little bit quicker too, because 1d4 long rests could be crazy if you get a 3 or a 4 and you have to wait 3 to 4 long rests to get this back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this one better of just take a long rest and you get it back.
I would like the old one more if it did more stuff, but it's the same amount of damage.
Yeah, it's the exact same amount of damage. So it just got an overall buff, really.
Yeah.
Also, the old one, I don't believe... Oh, no, it does. You have resistance to necrotic damage. Okay, I was about to say, I don't think it gave you the resistance or immunity, but it does do that too.
Yep.
So.
Okay, Jordan, finish it off.
Level 14, Superior Dread. Your form of dread improves, granting you the following benefits while you are using it. Flight. You have a fly speed equal to your speed and you can hover.
That's so funny.
Why? Profane casting.
Like, vampire.
Whenever you cast a warlock spell from the Conjuration or Necromancy school, you can cast without any verbal, somatic, or material components, except material components that are consumed by the spell or have cost.
Thanks.
So you can't cast anything that requires large amounts of diamonds.
Yeah.
Vitality Siphon. Once per turn, when you deal necrotic damage to a creature, you regain hit points equal to your charisma modifier minimum of 1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Why does it fly?
It's
'Cause,
really
like-
silly.
Because
It's
like
so
vampires can like float, and they do that sometimes, and like create.
Okay.
Well, that's not much different from before.
Yeah, no.
The old one also let you move through stuff.
The old one actually was like you're a ghost.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense and is kind of cool.
The last
Yeah.
one was called Spirit Projection.
And you gained resistance to bludgeoning and piercing and slashing in that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, all in all, not bad. It's
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, I think it roughly kind of stayed at the same level of like pretty good because
Yeah.
they took some things away that were all right, like you get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, that kind of stuff. But then they added
Mhm.
stuff that was pretty good too, like the ignore resistance to necrotic damage and the better unholy resuscitation. So, yeah,
All in all, it's okay.
this one is the one that came out the other side as the good subclass for the Warlock still.
Yeah. If it were me, I would say keep the Reanimator.
We didn't mind the Ranger either.
No,
Yeah,
the
keep the
Ranger was all right.
Ranger. I'm
What
going
was
through
the third? What was the third new one? What?
Those are the only two new ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get the sorcerer. The sorcerer
Yes,
keeps making me
Shadow
think that's
Sorcerer's
free.
not new. That's it. For this one that we did, they basically copy and pasted Undead Warlock and Shadow Sorcerer and said, screw you to Hexblade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Summary of the episode.
I
Keep
would
the
not.
undead.
If you're listening, wizards, which we know you are, but we also know that like you don't listen when we give real advice, but you just listen in general.
Yeah.
Do not use this Hexblade. It's UA. You have an opportunity to fix it right now.
Please don't.
UA is just
They're
a press
gonna.
release at this
Yeah,
point.
they're gonna. They're
I would say we can keep the Reanimator and we can keep the Hollow Warden and we can keep the Undead Warlock. Everything else, put it back in the box.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later. It's okay. You can be wrong. It's okay.
They can't be though, Pertuset.
I know. Well, the thing is they always are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't
They
really
very
have a
much
choice in the matter
can
at this
be, but
point.
they can't be to themselves.
Yeah.
They can't admit that
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
wrong.
Oh well. People are going to love it. People are going to buy it anyway because people are Jordan. And they love Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween!
I love horror. I love horror.
You dug your own grave for this, Jordan, by
I know,
by
it's
being
kinda
like,
my
I love
brand.
Halloween in the very first one.
I
So
know.
It is
But
no
it was
longer
so promising for the first one. It's not my fault it got worse.
me when I buy the book because I love horror and I love Halloween, and then I get disappointed because I opened the book.
It's me. I'm in
That's-
this picture and I don't like it.
Shout out to all the Jordan consumers out there. I hope you're gonna have a
Listen.
happy Halloween.
listen, Pertuset and I want you to be happy.
But we
But-
also want you to be like a smart consumer and quit feeding
Yeah.
the beast.
Because you're not gonna be happy because you're feeding the beast. 'Cause
True. What's the greatest horror of all but to perpetuate the Wizards' war machine, the Wizards' rage
So-
machine?
Just go play Daggerheart instead.
True.
Because that's out now. Daggerheart's out now.
It is out now.
yeah, and it has a dang like weird fear mechanic system, doesn't it? I
Dude,
forget.
it's so cool.
They love
My dad's
Darkest
obsessed
Dungeon.
with it right now, and I've
went
been looking
over
through
it.
the box set, and it's sick. I
Yeah,
love
we
it.
went over it when it first came out. So go check
What
out
we need to do
Daggerheart.
is, go check out Daggerheart and
We're not
Candela.
sponsored.
We haven't talked about Candela, but Candela is very horror-ish.
We just like when people do good things with tabletop.
Yeah.
So
I guess.
I don't know about that guy over there. I think Wizards has crushed his spirit and soul for all
He's dead
tabletop
inside.
ever.
I'll see you after Colossal Con, buddy.
Yeah.
I forgot I was the one. Yeah.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!